Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in. Check out your boy, P Farm, thinking right out here in my lab. In the book, I got a lesson that I had a question asked again. I love these kind of lessons where I can answer the question. I go to my book, get the answer for you. This one, the question was, where does true happiness come from? Good question. Let's go. I got the answer. So let's rock. Radism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. There's a message in my stories for life. I give you life lessons. You tune in to receive them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking way of life through mental and spiritual discipline practice daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. Right thinkers, your goal is to know thyself. You see where I'm going with this? Let's get it together. So I ask the question, do you know you? You will when I'm through. That's what I do. It's rhetorical, but if you don't have an answer for yourself, tune in. I got you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple, but you can teach them. That's why I do what I do. For you, appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm your spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself and to my eye be true. The question was, where does true happiness come from? And guess what? The answer is right here in bold letters. So I got a nice little paragraph and a half of information that'll help you with that answer. Hopefully when you get done, when I get done, you'll have the answer. And I'm going to kick in the purpose of life. Just a little tidbit. All right, let's go. So question, where does true happiness come from? We know how that verse, I just gave that lesson. This one should be good. Now, in reality, happiness does not, listen to me, in reality, happiness does not and cannot come from objects. Did you hear me? Happiness does not and cannot come from objects that can be acquired or from activities that are performed or from people outside of yourself. Did you get that? Did you understand that? If you didn't, I got a whole bunch of explanations to show to you. It can only come from within. Happiness, true happiness, can only come from within. Even all the actions that seem to be pleasurable, and they could, cannot still be considered as a source of happiness. Why? Because from a philosophical point of view, because all activities are relative, meaning it's happening outside yourself. But this means that one activity is pleasurable for one person, and that same activity can be painful for another. So if what gives you pleasure causes someone else's pain, that's not good. If hurting you gonna help me, I'm not gonna do that. And if helping you gonna hurt me, I'm not doing that either. So I'm not with the hurting and put somebody in a bad predicament for my personal pleasures, or I'm not sacrificing myself for someone else's pleasures. Understand that? And what's this? The same activity is desirable to some person at the same time, again, and not for others. To each his own, and that's fair. But this means that what? Such happiness is inconsistent. The things that you do to bring you happiness is always going to be, and watch this. So therefore, it's really illusory. Well, this is the real world. I can touch or feel, I do that. Ignorance. Pay attention. Also, all forms of physical pleasure. That means anything that's giving you pleasure outside your body is fleeting. Be it female, articles, cars, money, all that ain't going nowhere. Understand that. And they do not and they will not fulfill your mind for long. Why? As soon as you get it, it's pretty much old already. It's passe. Okay? Like most guys, most men, when I was a ladies' man, my thing was the hunt. I loved the game, so to speak. And that was my thing. Okay? And everything that everybody do is something that makes them desire to do it. And like I said, that was my thing. But this leads to what? The realization. And the thing about it, the hunt, I didn't care how long it took. Didn't care. But once I secured the package, I'm off for another hunt. So that says right there, I ain't never gonna be satisfied with the kill. Why? It's just I'm on another one. See, that's what it is. But this only leads to what? The realization that it is not the activity itself that holds the happiness, okay? But the individual doer who's performing the action. I love talking slick and, trying to get my thing in. So that was my personal thing, all right? And I understand. But the action, that was it. And the assigning to societal value, you make the value what it is. You can make God whatever you want. You worship it, praise it, whatever you want. It don't make a difference. But the action that you put forth, that you praise, whatever it is, that's going to make the difference. And even though it ain't the object that's your affection, he still bless you if the deeds is good and righteous. So you just give the credit to him. That's all. He don't mind. Moving on. But if you doing the deeds, he could care less who you worshiping. All right? But if it was learned that going out, how about this? This is another favorite. I remember times on Saturday night, I'm not staying in the house. I'm going to party. I'm going to the Zans. I got to get my boogie on. All right? But back in the day, when it's learned that going out to a party, club, or whatever, to have fun, and that's what we did, then that activity will be pursued as what? A source of happiness. Again, back in the day, wasn't a Saturday going by where I wasn't doing my thing, hanging out, having fun. Again, watch this. But now, here, the action is performed in pursuit of what? The fruit, desired result. Again, if I'm out there, you know what I'm doing. You believe in the hereafter, you know what I was after, okay? And the action in the form of happiness. I was happy on the hunt. I was just as tickle pink. And there are several negative psychological factors which that arise that would not allow true happiness to manifest. When you're doing wrong, happiness ain't in your periphery. Why? You just gonna believe or seem to happen, but it ain't really gonna be happiness. That's why. And you can manifest all the money, all the pleasures you want, and still it won't reach that level. Watch this. Why? The first thing is that relentless pursuit of the action will render the mind restless and agitated. I had a one-track mind. I only had one thing on my mind. And if I couldn't go party, I'm losing my mind, okay? And this prevents inner peace. I'm not going to be happy. I'm not going to be happy. See, the ignorance of that. And watch this. This prevents inner peace from entering into your mind. The last thing on mine was, no. Okay, understand that. And the second thing is that Excuse me. If your desired activity, which is the party, go party, is not possible, somebody paying the price. This will be depressing, and also animosity will set in the mind. You ready to do some work. And if that activity is throttled by some outside force, meaning that something or someone who prevented you from that activity, achieving that activity, object, or the activity for what you want to do, you saw as the source of happiness, and that they stop you from doing that, I would speak to my mother. Okay, that's how far gone I was with that nonsense. Okay. I laughed. I remember back when I was doing it. I was whacked out. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't in my right mind. I was like, heck, I was in dull state. All right. And what happened? You will now develop anger towards what? That person who prevented you from going to doing what you want to do. And that time it was my mother. Still got to laugh. And that person who had a chance to succeed in achieving your activity, now you become what? If you get what you want, then you become what? Elated. If she give in and cave and let me go, then I'm elated. But still in the back of my mind, I was happy. Watch this. But this will only cause what? Greed, craving to develop what? In your mind. You now start to figure out how you can will and deal, control that scenario to your benefit. And you will want to what? Experience more and more of the object and activities. Every week, I want to go party. And this makes for an agitated, and distracted mind. I'm always plotting and planning. My whole goal was to get out the house on Saturday. And when you are not able to once again achieve that object or activity at that particular time, you will become depressed, disappointed, frustrated, and under these conditions, now it's a constant what? Dependence on what? Outside activities and worldly objects that develop in your mind that you feel the needs that you have to have, and which will what? Will not allow for what? True peace and contentment, because the mind is always agitated about what it didn't get, what it wants, and how it's going to get it. Never rests, okay? Never content with what it's having, okay? A lot of people get what they're after. As soon as they get it, on to something else. It seems ungrateful, don't they? They pine, they want it, and when they get it, they just move right on. So that's what they mean. But now, even though it is illogical, and we know this, watch this. Now, this is, if you know somebody like this, you go look in the mirror. Even though we know it's illogical to pursue activities that cause us what? Pain in life. You know, if you're married, when you go dealing with that side chick, it's going to cause you pain and sorrow. You don't know that? Did you find out after you did it? That's money quarterbacking. You don't want that. I'm trying to let you know some things you might not want to do to find out the results, because that's going to come with some pain. People are constantly, watch this, acting against their own interests as they what? Engage in those actions in the effort to what? Gain happiness, pleasures, okay, money, whatever, while in reality, they are just enhancing the probability of what? Encountering pain later on. Yep. When when we start to deceive, once you start cheating, once you walk on the dark side, once you go over there, you pretty much done. The goal is to not go. You can't go over and say, well, I got this. No. Once you go over there, you over there. You made that decision. And there's some consequences. The devil going to get his cut. What's the devil's cut? You paying the consequence for that action. That's his cut. Okay, you got to pay for that. And he the one getting it. Now here we go. For every egoistic pleasure that you desire, that you go for, there is an equal measure of pain that must be experienced when later you reap what you sow. If what you reaping is not good, what you sow won't be good either. If what you reaping is good, what you sow got to be good. I'm proving that every day. I live that. I know that for a fact. And watch this. Now, those people who often, and I'm a victim of this one, act on often people act and before they think. So once they act, and shortly after they act, they regret why, because now they think about what they have done. If you thought about it before you did it, you might not have done it. That afterthought drives me crazy. Why? It serves no purpose for figuring out what you did was wrong after you did it. sometimes people know fully, even at the time of what? Their action. I knew what I was doing. I knew it was wrong. Okay. And that what? That they was wrong. Again, as I look back, I used the term, I sold my soul to the devil a long time ago when I decided to do what I was doing, which was wrong. And I didn't have a clue. I just know I was all in. If it's wrong, count me in. Now, if it's right, count me in. So there's a change. You just got to, if what you're doing ain't working and you don't change it, you just not too smart of a person. Where we at? And watch this. For every egoistic pleasure that you engage in, there's a price to pay for that. And when you willingly do something wrong, and yet they are knowing it's wrong, and you are unable to stop yourself, that's an addiction. And it's also self-destructive behavior. If it's wrong, you know it's wrong, and you do it anyway, you deserve what you get. That's karma. Simple. That's how it's done. And this is because why? This is because when the mind is controlled by what? Its desires of the flesh, egoistic expectations, and now the intellect, the right thinking part, the light of reason and willpower are what? Clouded and now dull. It's not in control. The lower part is in. And one is then what? Now controlled by, your ego, your lower self. That's easy to understand. That's easy to figure out. And some people just can't help themselves. They just gotta engage. They just gotta do it. They gotta drink, smoke, whatever it is that's wrong. They just have to do it. They got no willpower, no inner strength to what? Control themselves from doing what? Harm to themselves. Hence, self-destructive. That's self-destructive behavior. If you're knowingly doing stuff that you know is wrong, I had to laugh now because I was a willing participant. But I learned my lesson. Y'all will too. Don't worry. Don't worry. They all learn after the fact. However, when your mind is controlled by what? Your purified intellect, your right thinking, okay? Now you're on top of your game. Then what happened? Then it is not possible to be what? Led astray. Like Malcolm said, we've been led astray. Why? Due to our ignorance of who we are. We let somebody lead us down the wrong path. And due to what? Our fantasies and the illusions of the world. Now the mind, which is engendered irrational desires, is led, again, astray by what? The ego. It thinks or it believes is what the ego says. And when you, the individual, when you're guided by your intellect, that's Tahuti. Only right actions come from what? Right thinking. I love it. I love it. I see that in the book. The guy loved that. Okay. But right thinking leads to what? Right actions. Always. And can be performed with no matter who or what negative ideas arise in the mind. When you're doing what's right, the negative stuff, I can go and do whatever I want. I'm free. And to go do something that's going to cause me pain, harm, and danger makes no sense at all. So I don't do it. Simple. That's too easy. Simple. But such a person, watch this. Such a person cannot be deluded into negative action. You can't get me to do wrong. Why? I'm not going to do it. Not intentionally. No. Nah. If you can trick me some way, get me, yeah, but I ain't going to be wrong. If I know it's wrong, I ain't doing it. So I ain't got to worry about that. Again, my discernment kicks in. But when negative actions, which lead to future pain, disappointment, and frustration in your life caused by you, are what? When they're not performed, then what happens? Unhappiness cannot exist. If you don't put negativity into your mix, it can't get in the mix. You bring that, and it'll be there. You don't, it can't be there. Watch this. Thus, a person who lives, my favorite, coming up, you know what that's going to be. Person who lives according to the teachings of right thinking philosophy with righteous actions, Maya, lives a life of perpetual, you ready for this? Peace and happiness in the present moment. I live Maya. I think Maya. I act on Maya. So everything is what? Maya to me. That keep my balance. That keep me God conscious. That keep me focused and centered. Keep me honest. Okay? Those are things that with right thinking and due diligence will keep you on a straight path. And watch this. What that means? This implies that when you're performing right actions without desires of the ego and expectation for the future results of that action, what happens? And you strive to only do what's right, good for humanity, in service, selfish service of what? Maya, the God who discovered what? Inner satisfaction by what? Living right, living by the precepts of Maya, hold yourself accountable, and good things that happen for you. Simple as that. Simple as that. You ain't got to worry about nobody. Just do what you need to do. I'm going to do what's right. Why? I get blessed for that. That's why. Simple. Moving on. I can wrap it up right now. Closing it out. True peace and inner fulfillment will never come through pursuits of actions when there is an expectation and a desire for the fruits of those actions, and is based on what? Egoistic notions and ignorance. You have a hidden agenda. Your heart intentions are not good. God knows that. That's why all those supposed to be good people always having bad things happen to them, because God ain't blessing them. Why? They ain't living right, and God knows that, so they get exposed. Moving on. The belief in objects or worldly activities is the source of happiness, is therefore seen as what? A state of spiritual ignorance. No, excuse me, a state known spiritual ignorance. I told you, if you don't know God for yourself through experience, you're spiritually ignorant. Why? You haven't had your mystical experience. What's the proof that God exists? What's your proof that because you believe in Him? What's the proof you have that He exists? Why you believing in something that don't exist? And you have the proof for yourself. Moving on. Wherein the individual is what? Caught up in the illusions, the fantasies, and the fanciful notions of what? Their ignorant mind. However, happiness and peace can arise when spontaneously, when what? When there is an attitude of what? Detachment and dispassion. My two favorite things. Take your emotions out, take yourself out of the situation, and deal with it for what it is. You have to master that. When you have those things and toward objects and situations in life, you won't get caught up in it. It won't have no bearings on me at all. I can be biased to a situation where I ain't emotionally involved, and I'm not involved in a situation, and nothing to do with me. Give me the facts, I can make a simple observation or judgment on just that, not based on how I feel. Could care less. That's what detachment and dispassion means. And when you have attachment to what is good and beautiful and true, that's God. If your right actions are performed with what? The idea of discovering peace within, meaning your heart is pure, you're in earnest, you're serving your higher self, which is God. And this is based on your own understanding of what? The philosophy that you choose to follow, be it religious, philosophical, Egyptian concepts, Hindu, don't make a difference. Outlined above. For anyone and for the sake of what? The self-betterment of society. Society betterment for society. Then these actions will what? They will have the effect of what? Purifying one's heart. Doing the right thing, treating people right, doing the right thing, it purifies the heart of what? That individual. So everybody has to do it for themselves. Me doing it don't do you no good. You doing it don't do me any good. It's only for the self. That's the whole idea. Thyself, meaning you and God becoming one. The negative desires of the ego and the expectation, again, of said ego will now dwindle, while what? The inner fulfillment and the awareness of what? Fulfillment in a present moment will now increase. There will be a greater and greater personal self-discovery of what? Peace, where? Within. And a discovery of what is truly stable and changeless, which is the truth. It don't change. Within, as opposed to the mind of what concerns with the outer world, which is what constantly changing and unpredictable. If you banking on anything out in this world, you will lose. Simple as that. Bet on yourself. Bet on God. Get close and know thyself, and that's how you get what all the benefits and blessings that's due you. By living right, you will be rewarded. I can tell you that, and I keep telling you, I'm not no preacher. I just know spiritual concepts and the philosophy that you can practice and get you rewarded. That's the lesson. Hope you enjoyed it. That's where true happiness lies. Right here. And right here. Heart, mind, coherence, you put them together. Thyself. They come together and you know who you are. Now you be blessed. Why? Because the work you put in earn you just that. He know your heart. He bless you for just that. Hope you enjoy the lesson. Right thinkers, in closing, may you all live to be 100. Me, 100 miles a day. So I never know those right thinkers who what know now where happiness come from who passed away. Get happy.